And so this new file, so let me create another component to demonstrate the concept of hooks and how it really affects the data. So when I right click here, I click new file, then I'm going to give a file name, maybe favorites, dot js, and inside this code, inside this file, I'm going to create a symbol function component which is going to be represented by this code. So you can see in this file, I have created a symbol component called favorite post, and inside this component I have declared one variable post using the useState, and I've assigned it an initial value red. This line 4 is the same as declaring a normal variable const, I call it favorite post, and then I assign an initial value red. The only difference between the variable on line 4 and the variable f post on line 5 is that this variable here is declared using the useState, and this variable here is declared without using the useState. So let us see the difference between the two. So below this, I'm returning an HTML with one header and one button. So the header is saying my favorite post is, I'm accessing the value of post here, so I want to use the variable, the first variable declared with useState. And then I'm saying on button click, when a button is clicked, change the value of the blue of the post to blue. So I will click here so that I can change it to blue text. Alright, so let me change the type here, say change value, change post, and now after I have added this favorite post, let me add a new tab here called, or a new link called favorite post, so that when we click on it, we are able to see that page of the favorite posts. And how do we add that? We first make sure that we add it in the nav bar. So in the nav bar is where we are having all these navigation links: the sign up, the add post, the new post, support us, which you are able to see them here. So these are our navigation bar. It has a background color of blue. So we make sure we add a link for that. And we call it favorite. And let's also style it with the color white. Alright. And then we are going to have the link text. Link text is now going to be favorite post. And now when you go to our page, you should be able to see another link within the navigation bar called favorite post. But now when you click on it, the URL changes here to /favorite, but then there is no any content which is displayed here. The reason we don't have this content is because we have not added the path and displayed the relevant component. So next, after adding it in the navigation bar, we also need to go to our app.js. We configure the route for it, and so we add a new route, and then within this route tag we add the path attribute slash. So when the path is favorite, which component should be displayed, or which element should be displayed? And so we are going to display the favorite post component, and for us to display it here, we must import it within the app.js. So we import favorite let me go to the favorite. So we have not exported it. We cannot be able to import it until we export default favorite post. After exporting it, we can now import. Am I still audible? Guys, okay, I'm still there, right? So after importing it, we can now then be able to display it here, and they say that when the path is /favorite, we want to make sure we display the favorite post, and save that. So now when I click on favorite, it should display. Let me check whether it's happening here. So I've given the wrong path here. Favorite should be fav, right? Let me check how I have configured in the nav bar. So in the nav bar I've said /favorite. Let me copy this to avoid mistakes. Exactly this path is what should be here.
From the folder.
From
the folder, there's a misfield from the folder.
Yes.
On the SRC.
Oh, SRC. Oh, okay. This one does not have a problem. Let me. I can see. Yes. Let me see if this one matches with the one in the SRC. Yeah. If they match, there is no problem. I think this. We can even rename this one here. Rename to the correct favorites.js. So it also changes here. Okay. So route favorite. So let me change. Now it's okay. Yeah, so when I click on favorite, you should be able to see my favorite post is red. When I click on change, it should now change this particular text. My favorite post is blue. So it changes from red to blue. And that is able because it is possible because we are using the useState to hold the value of the red, and therefore even after the application has loaded, the application still has an eye on that variable, and when we click it, it is able to change its value from red to blue. But now if we had used the normal variable which is declared without the useState, so let me come to my code here. We go back to our favorite component, and so if instead of using the value here, this variable post, I'm going to use this other variable f post, which is declared normally without using the use state, and therefore when I use it here, f post, and then on click, I don't want to set this to new post. What I want to do is I want to call another function. So let me create a function here. I have a function called change favorite post, and then within this one, what it does is that it changes f post to a new value like blue. Okay, and then on click, I want to call that function called change favorite post. You see that? So I'm expecting that when I click this button, I should be able to call this function, and when I call this function should update the value of f post to blue. And now if the value of f post is updated to blue, it should now reflect here, saying now my favorite post is blue instead of red, because the initial value is red. Alright, so let us save these changes, and then now we view the page. So I'm going to refresh just to make sure. So you can see the initial value is my favorite post is red. Now when I click change post, it does not change. In fact, it gives you an error saying assignment to constant variable. So we remember constant variables cannot be changed. So once a value is assigned to a constant variable, like constant like this, you cannot be able to update it to a new value. So let me make this variable maybe late, so that we can be able to update it and see if it reflects. Again, when I click on change post, nothing happens. The value is not updated here, and that is because we are not using the use state. We are using a normal variable without use state, and therefore when the application loads initially, when you restart here, the application normally loads, and therefore when it loads, it takes all the initial values the way they were declared. After taking those initial values, it forgets about them, and it's not aware about their state, whether the state changes or not, whether you update the value or not. It is not aware again after the first loading. So to make it aware about that variable state or the variable value, you must use the use state. So because of this use state, it's like we are taking this application, this variable called post, you need to keep an eye on it, because its value might change anytime, and therefore when the value changes, make sure to update the UI respectively. Alright, and that's why we use the use state, to make sure that we keep track of all the data within the component. So guys, that's all about the use state. Unless you have a question, you can ask. Am I audible and clear? Nice. So in case you have a question, you can ask as I look for the next topic to present.